We thank you for that presentation, and I'm sure that it was information packed. And there's a website for those of you who want more information, and then during the question and answer session, you will be able to maybe ask some more specific questions. Now I have the pleasure to introduce Ms. Mari Corujedo, and she will be providing us with a teacher's perspective. Ms. Corujedo is an elementary ESOL teacher, or as now known ELL. She has worked in our public school system for the past 20 years. Mari is the president of our sister council, the Hispanic Educators Lula Council, as well as the president of the Hispanic Educators Committee, UTD Caucus. And Mari, the mic is yours. And you're going to speak from over there? Okay. Then I'm going to have to go around the table and stand behind you when you see my shadow. That means your 5 minutes are up, okay? All right. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to give you the teacher's perspective. We are the front line. We educate the children. We are in front of the children. And sometimes we do plan these wonderful lessons, but reality sets in because we're not teaching products. It's not a phone. It's not a computer that you could program it and do exactly what you want. Life happens. And that's the most important thing that we have to realize. Children have a life. Sometimes they're hungry. Sometimes they don't speak the language. Imagine you going in and going to school, and somebody gives you a test and said, okay, answer it, and it's all in Chinese. How well would you do? But today, that matters. It didn't matter before. And a lot of people say, okay, well, when I came, I didn't know any English whatsoever. And I learned, yes, but there was no FCAT back then. There was no accountability for them. Because accountability is great, but we need to see what we're doing with that accountability, because they're not products, they're individuals, and they all come with different needs, and that's what a teacher is for. A teacher will sit there and figure out what are the needs of that child, and what is it that we need to do to get that child from point A to point B. And sometimes we'll get to Z, but maybe their best is somewhere in the middle. And I think one of the things that we're missing in education today is giving that child that sense of success, to understand that maybe you are not the genius, but you're going to be okay, because we are all composed of different people and we all play a different role in our society. And I think that's where we're failing right now. We're failing where we want to present our children like all of them the same, one cookie cutter for everybody, and that is not what public education is. So what can I say? First of all, we would like to inform the parents of what's going on. One of the things that I've been involved in is that I see the lack of information, and that parents trust us. They do. They send them to school, and they think that we are doing the best for our children. And that might be our intentions. Everybody's intention is great, but sometimes policy does not. Policy does not meet with instruction. Policy is over here on the left, and instruction is over here on the right. Why? Because we have people making decisions about education that are not teachers. And we need to go back to understanding that education is not only, the teacher is one part of the puzzle, but we all make that puzzle together. And if we truly want to make our children succeed, we need to understand that. Okay? The other thing is that testing should be to inform, should not be to drive instruction. And these poor children, as a teacher, it pains me, because we come in the fall, we're all excited, everybody has their new book bags, we have our new supplies, we meet our new students. Here comes fall intro. First, we give them a baseline to see where they're at. Then here comes the fall, they get another test. In the winter, there's another test, then they get FCAT. And then we end testing. It shouldn't be that way. And this is where children right now are turned off to school, because there's so much testing, and everything is derived by a score. If they got a 1, if they got a 2, if they got a 3, they got a 4, and if they got a 5, great, because that means, hey, I did it. And that's how the parents are feeling too. I think the parents have this disconnect with school because we ourselves have gotten away from what education is truly is. So what can we do? How can we solve this problem? Doing this, getting involved, having conversations. driving our politicians and letting them know that we elect them, but we elect them to look out for our children. You see, they do a lot of things for the children because children don't vote. If children voted, I bet you we would not be making the decisions we're making today. So what the teachers want, what the teachers need, your support, for you to value education. Sometimes we struggle because the children don't have what they need in the classroom. And we try as much as we can to give them what they need, but sometimes they need a little bit more because someone thought out there that if you can read, let's give you more reading because, if you didn't get it now, you could get it with 100 times, and maybe there's something else missing in that puzzle. So we need to understand that it's a combined effort from everybody. So it's very frustrating sometimes. It's frustrating for the teacher because we know that that child in front of you is giving it their all, and sometimes that all is not good enough. Who does it affect? Who are we worried the most about? Our ELL students. Because our ELL students, the testing, the standardized testing is very unfair to our ELL learners. Very unfair. To think that in 1 year of being here in the United States, you could be proficient, it's a joke. It's really not something reality, okay? Our ESE students, that now all their programs have been minimized, and they are told, here's an inclusion class. It doesn't matter what your needs are, but we really don't have the funding to give you the resources and the class that you need, but make it here. You could make it, okay? Those are our children who are at risk. And of course, poverty. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but poverty does matter. If the parent is struggling financially, the first thing is not going to be education. The first thing in their mind is going to be feeding that child, putting food on the table, and maybe paying their light bill so they could have light. Some children come to school and they don't have light. They don't have electricity at home. Some children in high schools, when you go to those neighborhoods, you hear a lot of the narrative, that they don't do enough or they don't work. They are working, and sometimes you find those students working in your Burger Kings, in your McDonald's, trying to help their parents make it. And that's why school has become not important, because the most important thing is to survive. So that matters. If we truly want our children to globally compete, we need to really pay attention to what we're doing in our schools. And the most important message that we have to send to our politicians is to value education, value teachers, value students, and pay for education. Thank you.